Is this man sick, drunk, or mentally disturbed? Or perhaps all three at once? Before the evening is over, some team of policemen may have to decide, and this man's life may depend on the outcome.
At 8516 East 55th Street, that's at the bar. Check for a male, he's supposed to have a gun.
More than half the people whom the police must arrest have the smell of alcohol on their breath. Most of these people are drunk. But is that all? Has the old wino who's been booked more often than the police care to remember suffered a fall that could cause him to die in the cell before morning? The sad truth is that no one can tell with certainty. The mask of alcohol can hide all but the most obvious signs of physical and mental illness. In circumstances like these, even the skilled physician often makes mistakes. This is why every police department needs to develop a system of continuous observation that begins the moment of arrest and does not relax until the prisoner is discharged. As the mask of intoxication wears off, clues can be spotted, particularly by the turnkey who has learned to look for them.
Just checking. Go back to sleep again.
What the turnkey sees, what he saw an hour ago, what the arresting officers saw and reported to the booking officer, determines which man is taken to the hospital and which man can be kept in the tank. On a typical weekend, most city lockups are crowded with men who are booked simply as intoxicated or drunk and disorderly. Most sleep it off, are released the next day, and all too often have to be picked up again within a few days, if not hours. The public wants them off the streets, kept out of sight. Policemen generally find arresting such people a dull, disgusting chore. They too grow callous. Then the effects of alcohol can mask all but the most obvious signs of physical and mental illness. People who have chronic diseases that are often confused with drunkenness, diabetics, for example, should be encouraged to wear identification tags. This one warns the jailer he will need medicine while in custody. But you won't find many such helpful hints in an average run of prisoners. Drunk or sober, they're likely to be full of complaints and resentments, and some full of cunning. It takes a sharp intelligence to detect who is simply miserable and who is in mortal danger.
James Henry?
Yes?
I see according to your arrest slip out there, the doctor has you written down as a diabetic.
Yes?
If I recall correctly, the last time you were in here, you had a sore here on your arm. Did it heal up yet?
Well, I got another one.
Handling and helping people who've been drinking is both a chore and a skill every police officer is duty-bound to acquire.
504 East 90 and Euclid, one down in the doorway.
Oh, you can't hurt a drunk. He's too relaxed.
This is a popular and dangerous myth. People who drink are more likely to suffer serious consequences from falls, exposure, and infections because nature's warning signs, including pain itself, are masked by the effects of alcohol.
Get the kit in a blanket.
Few cities can afford hospital treatment or ambulance service for simple intoxication. Policemen are expected to decide on the spot who needs medical care right away and who can wait until morning.
Give me a sponge.
The man-down routine begins by positioning the victim's head so he won't breathe in and strangle on his own vomit. Then a systematic check is begun for signs of internal injury.
Pupils are dilated.
Respiration's all right.
No broken bones.
His pulse is a little fast.
All unconscious people should be taken to the hospital, regardless of the fact that they have been drinking. When a person cannot be aroused by a simple pain pressure test, such as the one used here, there is even more reason to take him to the hospital.
Get the stretcher.
When you found him, was there anything to indicate that he might have fallen or hit his head?
He might have tripped over something, but we couldn't say for sure.
Did you look around?
No, we didn't.
It's a good thing you brought him in anyway. Smelling as he did from alcohol, he might just as easily wind up in the drunk tank. You can see he's been vomiting. He's lost control of bowel and bladder. When you see this with unconsciousness, bring him in just as you did.
Okay, Doc, he's all yours.
Thanks.
I need this one.
What's your name? You been drinking tonight? Where have you been drinking? Don't you know where you've been drinking? Where do you live at?
The grand mal epileptic, after he has suffered a major seizure, is likely to be disoriented and confused. He seldom remembers what happened during his attack. Some have flailing movements that can be mistaken for combativeness. It's easy to confuse all this with simple drunkenness when there is the smell of alcohol on the breath.
Hey, Fred, epilepsy. I have epilepsy. If found unconscious or behaving abnormally, my condition is not due to drinking. We have a name and a doctor. Let's go to the hospital.
Come on, let's go.
Too few epileptics as yet carry identification. Though harmless to others, they often need police protection and assistance in finding medical help.
Oh, boy, 3 more hours and I'm off duty. Hi, fellas, what's up?
Epileptic.
Okay, Doug, I'll get the doctor. Be right there.
Just brace yourself.
I'm feeling okay now. I'm feeling fine. I've had a few drinks. Perhaps I know I shouldn't have. No reason why I can't go home.
You're still going to have to see the doctor. What are you looking for?
I got some medicine here someplace.
I've got it right here for you.
Dr. Charles.
No, you have to wait and get it from the
Fellas, want to
doctor.
bring him in here, please?
Of course, most drinkers whom the police must handle aren't so amenable.
Short horse. Sucker punch.
The community wants
Get
such
him down.
drinkers locked up for its own
Knock him
safety,
down.
and yet is quick to criticize the police for using the physical force this requires. Against this, an impersonal professional approach is a policeman's chief safeguard.
Police! 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 What are you doing with him? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, let that man go.
At times like this, the policeman who lets himself become involved in arguments loses half his effectiveness.
You police, why don't you turn that man loose? Police brutality. I don't know why you don't leave these people alone. He hasn't did anything. Now turn him loose.
Take him to jail, but I don't take him to jail, but that's all. Nice move with these stuff. You doing stuff. I don't want to hear this stupid son of a bitch story. What are you, stupid bastard? Look at this guy doing his own to call that third guy. Hey, there's a drugstore next door. Goddamn in there, for Christ's sake. Waitress! The drugstore only pay a nickel for a 7-Up. What are you doing here? Right, Dad. Sit down. What are you getting? This ass. This deacon or this asshole here. What are you guys making all the noise about over here? Get down.
Huh? Geez, you're bothering everybody in the
Officer, we're not making... No, you ain't talking to me. You ain't talking to me.
It's time to go home now.
Why don't you guys go out there and take care of a couple of the crooks in the city instead of coming here and... I pay your goddamn salary. That's all you're doing. You ain't taking me out of here, you bastard. I'm telling you, you ain't taking... Hey, give me a little help here. These goddamn cops are like... Grab the zip on this goddamn joint. Come on.
Got that one, Eddie?
Come on, let me go. I ain't going to no goddamn pokey. You silly fuzz. Come on, let me go. Let me go.
We have a wild one.
Hey, why don't you fellas punch that guy in the mouth for all that dirty language he's using?
Listen, lady, we put up with that every day. In the morning after he sleeps it off, he'll probably be all right.
At 7040 West 3rd, resident tax causing trouble.
Sick, drunk, or mentally disturbed. Or perhaps all three at once. For many people, the use of alcohol is in itself a kind of disease. In a wealthier neighborhood, men who drink too much would more likely be handled by their private physician or psychiatrist rather than the police.
What happened? Did he fall down the stairs or something?
Not as I know of, but they've been raising hell upstairs and keeping my babies awake all evening.
What were you guys doing up there? Drinking and having a ball? Don't you understand me, fella? What's your name? You hard of hearing? Let's get this guy up.
Well, here's your hat, Charlie. I'll just take this guy along, too.
If this man hadn't been drinking, his actions and appearance might suggest that he is mentally ill. But for the time being, the police must act upon the more obvious evidence of intoxication. In every case, the booking officer should determine afresh that the prisoner is physically fit to be put in a cell.
How tall are you?
What are you asking me for? You guys know I've been here often enough.
He's about 5'6".
Stick around, Jimmy. We're not through with you yet. Stick around.
Okay.
How much do you weigh?
200.
200. What's the color of his hair?
Green.
It's brown, Sarge. Okay, Clyde. Let's go.
Come on, let's go to bed.
Better lie on the floor, Clyde. You'll fall off the fence and hurt yourself.
This is a wise precaution. Chronic alcoholics often suffer blackouts soon after their source of supply is cut off.
What is your name, fella?
Say, fella, what's your name? I don't know, Sarge. He ain't said nothing since we left the house.
He has anything on him with his identity on.
Okay.
Look in his pocket.
His name is James Honeywell.
Where do you live, James?
Doesn't give no Cleveland address on here.
Where do you live, fella?
Where do you live at?
Well, we'll make it no home for the time being.
Prisoners should be checked on every few minutes, particularly when they've been drinking heavily prior to arrest. Well-lighted cells give the jailer a better chance to see changes that can warn him when a prisoner needs emergency medical care.
Okay, officer.
Why don't you get some sleep?
I don't sleep.
You don't sleep? Man, it's going to be a long night for you.
By transfer time, when prisoners are moved from district stations to central lockup, most of the men booked when drunk will have lost their glow. There's a better chance to spot physical and mental disorders.
Same old crowd.
Shake it up now.
Many people have been booked as intoxicated who were suffering mild strokes, diabetic comas, heart attacks, uremic poisoning, and infections of many kinds because they had the smell of alcohol on their breath. No police department can be blamed for making such mistakes occasionally, but no department can be excused for continuing to hold these people in jail without medical care once there has been time enough for the effects of alcohol to wear off.
Go. James Daniel.
Experienced jailers learn to keep a careful watch on old regulars for the telltale signs of oncoming DTs.
Huggins. Hayes. Jackson.
Yes.
What kind of music?
I do novelty acts.
Do love that?
Yes.
Let's see you do love.
Here, play on my head, watch this one here.
Pretty good. That's all right.
Thank you.
That's good. That's very good. You know anything else?
Yeah, foghorn.
Foghorn. I ain't never heard of foghorn here.
Here we go, George. Take it.
Prisoners who are allowed to go into delirium tremens without medical attention often die of them. Ideally, such medication would be given by a doctor or nurse in a hospital, but an hour's delay can be fatal. Even in hospitals that are equipped and staffed to handle such cases, death from attacks of the DTs run as high as 6%. Giving a prisoner a small dose of paraldehyde to tide him over until the doctor arrives is obviously no more than first aid. But if he can be protected from the shock of a full-blown attack, it may save his life.
Easy down. Atta boy. You feel better now since you had that medicine? Atta boy. Now you just lay there and take it easy. That medicine will take effect and you'll feel a lot better. Okay? Yeah.
Any complaints, mister? Oh, Nick.
Oh.
How you doing?
Well, I've had a little bit too much to drink, doctor.
Oh, no. And back with us, huh?
Back with it. Say, doctor, will you give me an aspirin so I got a head?
Tom will take care of it for you.
That's the fact.
Clyde, this is the doctor. How do you feel now?
Oh, not bad.
You know where you are, Clyde.
I guess I'm in jail.
How long ago did he have his medication, Tom?
About a couple of hours ago, Doctor.
Let me have your flashlight a minute, ma'am. Thanks.
Jail physicians, busy with the obviously urgent calls for their services, seldom have time to watch prisoners closely on their own. They must depend on observant jailers like Tom to spot those they should see.
How are you today? Pretty rough this morning, Tom.
Make it all right?
I guess so.
Take it easy. I'll leave you calls in a few minutes. How are you today, buddy?
I'll never shake me. I can't when I go to court.
Well, there's no court today. It's Sunday. Have to wait tomorrow morning. How about you, Phil? How are you doing today?
I feel pretty good today.
You gonna make it all right?
Yeah, I think I'll make it.
That's up, boy. Clark, are you gonna eat this today?
I don't eat. I'm not hungry.
If better eat something. It's a long time between meals up here. You know, that cart won't be around for quite a while yet. You sure you're feeling all right? Nothing wrong?
Hey, Tom, you gonna have the food the guys got there?
No, he's gonna eat it himself later on.
Okay, thanks. Hey, guys, you guys sick out here. Prepare yourself.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
Sometimes when a heavy drinker is taken off alcohol suddenly, he falls into rum fits.
We had to hold his feet there, Rich. Just hold his ankles down. Don't hold them too tight. You don't want to cut the circulation. Just hold them firm. Got that? Hold them firm.
These seizure-like attacks are often mistaken for epilepsy and have helped spread the impression that epileptics drink more than other people, which is not so. However, people in rum fits and epileptic seizures should be handled alike, restrained only when necessary to keep them from hurting themselves, and allowed to recover their composure without being moved. Keeping an informal desk record of prisoners who prove to have special medical problems helps Tom to anticipate trouble, sometimes even prevent it by seeing that they get the medical care their condition requires more promptly. For example, next time he'll know Pete Kelly can't be allowed to sober up without some kind of medical control. Clinic lines are long in almost any jail. On weekends, when the medical staff is most likely to be short-handed, a jailer's ability to spot trouble early is of particular value.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close, George.
Sure been a long year.
How you doing?
Say, Tom, who on the bench this morning?
We're going to have Judge Sawicki on tomorrow morning. Today's Sunday.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing there? I'm pretty sick. Oh, somebody will take care of it.
Tom, I had a bad one last night. You know, I got to kind of check myself on that thing, you know?
Yeah, I sure as hell have to, after that fit I threw this morning.
Why don't you ask the judge for 30 days so you can get straightened out a little bit, get dried up? It's the only way you're going to stay out of this place.
Fellow was telling me about that alcoholic rehab program they got out at the workhouse.
Oh, it's very good. We've had a lot of guys that went out there from here, and they don't come back up here anymore.
Yeah?
They apparently got straightened out. I did see a few of them. They're dressed nice, they're shaved. Matter of fact, I've seen a few of them that own their own cars already. See you tomorrow.
Take it easy, Tom.
See you tomorrow, Claude. Hey, I'll see you in the morning.
Have to.
Daniels. Honeywell. Honeywell. First name?
James.
Hunt. First name? Bob. Kelly. Pete. What's the matter, Pete? Pretty wobbly yet today, fellow. What have you been drinking?
Just beer. Are we going to court? I want to get out of here.
I don't know. Were you drinking any Rev or Sunoco?
I've been in here 2 days. I'm sober. I'm dried out. All I need.
Remember what you had besides the beer?
Oh, I'm dried out. Let's go.
Pete,
to-
you're in pretty bad shape yet. I think we better send you over to the hospital and have a doctor check.
Nothing in a shot of whiskey won't.
Well, come on there, Pete. Come on in and lay down for a little while.
The community wanted these men off the street, kept out of sight until they were sober. Now what? Most trials for simple intoxication last less than a minute. The judge, like the prison doctor, is too pressed for time to find out much about a prisoner on his own.
Billy Jackson. Mr. Jackson, you are charged with intoxication. How do you plead?
Guilty.
What is Jackson's record?
3 arrests in the last 2 years, Your Honor. The past arrest occurring December 26th for intoxication.
Last arrest was last year?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Jackson, court sentence will be $10 in costs and 10 days in jail. I'll suspend the days this time.
Thank you.
All right, 10 in costs.
Thank you.
James Honeywell. Mr. Honeywell, you are charged with intoxication. How do you plead?
James, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Old regulars may get a small fine, or perhaps a few days in the workhouse. First offenders are usually released with a warning.
So what, just that? What is the sentence, Your Honor? Cost suspended. You may go.
Nick Watson. Mr. Watson, you are charged with intoxication. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Weren't you here just a little while ago?
Yes, I was here a while ago. A while back.
Most people who drink to excess do so to meet some deep psychological need that isn't likely to be relieved by repeated arrests. The police know, perhaps better than anyone else, how futile this course of action can be. Yet, our society still handles the problem, for the most part, through police action alone. Someday, we may come to recognize alcoholism for what it is, a physical and mental illness rather than a crime. Yet, the value of police work with the people who drink cannot be measured simply by the number of individuals it helps or fails to keep sober. This man's head injury could have brought death had he been kept in jail over the weekend. Instead, 2 alert policemen brought him to the hospital.
Some water, please.
Not quite yet.
Pete Kelly is suffering from a neurologic malady often developed by alcoholics that can cause permanent brain damage if untreated. But it responds quickly to medication. Kelly is getting treatment because Tom Mobile was looking for this kind of trouble.
Pete, open your eyes. Come on, wake up. Open your eyes. How many fingers do you see here?
Clyde's attack of DTs could have been fatal had arrest not brought his condition to medical attention.
Oh, I see. This is the grandmother's basement, is it? Yeah, it's the one Charlie
What
got
any
about.
one officer sees or fails to see, reports or fails to report, is often a matter of life or death. Could the police have prevented this tragedy?
One time in the right side of the head, that's what did it.
It looks pretty clear it's suicide, but I think we better check around, see if anybody noticed anything.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I remember the kid. He seemed peculiar when we picked him up. Can't understand it. Didn't act like an ordinary drunk.
Yeah, I remember something was wrong with him. I should have told the sergeant when we first brought him in.
Yes, I remember him. That was the fellow we couldn't get much out of. He wouldn't tell us anything.
Oh, that's the guy. He said he didn't sleep. We get a lot of queer ones like that, especially on weekends. But how's anyone going to know?
Gee, it's funny I didn't spot him. Did talk to him a few times there. Was a little hesitant when I asked him how he was feeling. Of course, nobody else said nothing, and there was nothing marked on his arrest slip either. So I guess I let one get by me, too.
Perhaps no one person saw enough that was unusual in Honeywell's behavior to feel justified in warning the court, so he could be given a psychiatric examination before his release. Yet had they passed along their suspicions to the next observer and the next, the sum of their watchfulness could have kept this boy from walking out of the courthouse that Monday morning to freedom and to death. The mask of alcohol continues to challenge the policeman's skill and his patience every week in the year.
Huh? Hit the sidewalk. Hit the sidewalk. Did they take you to a hospital? How's the arm? Okay. What happened to you, buddy?
Too many good-looking girls.
Too many good-looking girls. Is that the only place you got hurt? Okay. Feeling pretty bad today, huh, Jackson?
Yeah, I never felt so bad.
You feel as though you got a Jerry coming on?
Yeah.
I thought you told me last week you were going to ask the judge to give you 30 days so you get straightened out a little bit.
I will this time.
I think I better take you back in the clinic and get you fixed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Need a drink?
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Can you stand up all right?
Yeah.
That up, boy. Just take your time. How long have you been drinking, Jackson?
I don't know, Tom. About 5 to 6 weeks, I imagine.
What are you drinking? Beer or wine, or were you drinking
Drinking everything.
Everything you get your hands on, right?
Yeah.
I think we better give you a little something to settle you down there, don't you?
Okay.
Huh? You older? You want me to...
Until we find some new approach to the problem, understanding policemen can do a great deal to help those millions of Americans who find their course of self-destruction through drink halted temporarily by arrest.
You ever tried to do anything for this drinking there?
I tried, Tom. I tried.
All on your own, huh?
Yeah.